drama television show that has a big moment where somebody dies or somebody, has a big heartbreak versus a comedy show that has a suddenly serious episode. Because I can guarantee 100% of the time that funny show that we love those characters and all of a sudden it gets serious, that is the emotional impact because we love the characters. In the drama show, we are prepared for all of that nastiness all the time and we need the comedy to release it. But the comedy show that hits us where we weren't expecting it is the opposite thing. Writing horror, the audience goes into it with a certain knowledge. They understand this is meant to scare us, it's meant to creep us out. But if there's too much of it, we need to calm it down a little bit. So I just kind of threw out a quick answer to you. It's contrast. Contrast is necessary for the reading audience as well, or it's all too much.
Yeah, in my first two books, Forever Will You Suffer and Institutional Memory, there's nothing intentionally funny. Like I'm going to write a funny bit here. But there are characters that do things that by the end of the scene I'm like, oh, it's pretty funny that they did this, or comments that are made back and forth because these characters are in that sort of tension that somebody needs to make a stupid comment to do exactly what you're saying to break that tension. Also in the thriller, I think there are comments where they just, sarcasm. Jeez, who thinks of that? Where there's sarcasm thrown in, and it's funny because they need to break that tension moment. So, but I've tried to sit down and write humorous stuff, and it just doesn't work. I just can't. It's spontaneity is so much easier.
Is tough.
Comedy is the hardest thing to write. I have all the respect in the world for comedians.
Especially being funny in print. It's one thing to be funny like in person. It's rather easy. It's hard to write something that will stand up and be funny on its own when somebody's just reading. So yeah, people that can write like those humorous books.
Body language and timing.
Yeah, and tone of voice.
Words on print, they gotta stand on their own. That's right.
It's tough.
I think the same thing. If I try to be intentionally funny, it doesn't work. But a lot of my characters have a lot of, they're very sardonic. They can really be, cracking something, like cracking a joke, just because they're just smart asses sometimes. But I don't go in for comedy per se, like a comedic scene. It's more those one-liners that kind of, again, release a little bit of that tension, or allow you a moment to sit back and maybe it's the absurdity of the whole situation, and that line will bring out that situation. I'll kind of sum it up right there.
Oh, another thing I just thought of to spring back. I think it also makes characters and stuff and such relatable, because we all know that in real life, very few people are serious all the time or are even appropriate to the situation and all the time. I mean, how many times have you been like maybe at a funeral and you glance over and there's somebody that's sitting there trying really hard not to laugh and you're like, what the hell? And, it could just be something stupid popped into your head, and that, this is a funeral. I should not be I should not be laughing. But that happens, and I think that adds a touch of reality to it. The people that make the inappropriate joke at the wrong time, things like that.
Yeah, in this story, The Perpetuals, this is the one that I was forced to plot out, and I realized relatively early on that I had a need for a comedic relief character or two, and I had to do this, and I had no idea how to write funny, so I cheated. I said, all right, I'm just going to model a character or two off of some characters that I know are already funny. So, Guilty Pleasure, Golden Girls is genius. And one of my characters in this story is Rose Nyland. She is just dumb as the day is long, but absolutely lovable. You don't care. She's constantly getting words wrong. My favorite line in the entire series so far is when she makes a reference to Star Wars and she calls him Darth Vader. I just, and I don't even know if I came up with that, but I heard that somewhere. So, it's sort of like a writing tip, and I kind of stumbled upon this by accident. If you're forced to do something like that, whether it's comedy or otherwise, steal from stuff that already exists. I couldn't have created the character of Rose Nyland on my own. And, you know, Pearl, the character in my story, you know, I would have never been able to write her had I not already watched way too many episodes of The Golden Girls, so I knew exactly how to write that type of person. But it worked great. She's natural. I don't even have to work very hard for a character.
When in doubt, steal.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know what they say, good writers borrow, great writers steal.
Steal, yeah.
So,
Very much. Other questions? Come on, there's got to be some fun stuff you can ask. No, nothing's too embarrassing.
We got
Do you listen to music when you're writing? Does that help or hurt,
There we go.
especially with writing horror or this genre?
Okay, let's start at the end.
yes, I do. I surprise, I listen to a lot of goth and industrial. So, you know, and then that, like, we talk about subgenres, that blends into like dark ambient or ambient, things like that, because I feel like if I'm writing fantasy or horror, or dark fantasy or whatever, finding the right music really helps set the mood, even if it's just like a subconscious thing, because I'm focused on what I'm writing. It does really help set the mood, and it provides a really good white noise also in the background. So definitely have to pick the right music.